Hi everybody. I did two open houses today, so I'm kind of tired, but I had some thoughts I wanted to share. As you can tell from a lot of my other posts, I'm not really in front of the camera a lot because I'm not a fan of being in front of the camera, but I again had some thoughts I wanted to share with everybody. I'm going to try not to make the video super long, but going back to my open houses, I enjoyed teaming up with one of my colleagues to do open houses and look forward to doing open houses with her in the future. It was enjoyable having someone else there with me. We didn't get the turnout that we wanted, which kind of leads to my thoughts that I'm going to be sharing. But again, it was enjoyable having someone there to bounce ideas out off of, and it really just made the open houses a lot better than doing them alone. Um, and so going back to the turnout on the open houses, we didn't have the turnout that we wanted. And it kind of led to a conversation about how a lot of agents may complain about how the market is and how it's hard right now. It may lead to some negative thoughts that lead to a lot of the statistics that we see and a lot of content that's posted about how agents will be leaving the industry. I think a lot of that is directed towards some new agents. There may be some seasoned agents that decide to leave, but a lot of new agents may get super discouraged with the way the market is and the way things are going and just decide to drop out of the industry. I've done a lot of posts recently encouraging agents not to give up, and I want to continue to do that. I'm a new agent myself. I was licensed in March. It is 8 months later, and I have not had a deal yet. And it can get discouraging. If I was to say that I haven't had thoughts about why am I doing this, I would be being dishonest. And I think if you ask any agent, have they had thoughts about, if this is really the right thing to do, and they say, oh, I haven't, especially with the way things are now, they may not be being completely honest as well. But I still feel like we shouldn't give up. I feel like, if we can make it with the way things are now, then that says a lot about how we'll be able to make it when things get better. Again, I have only been licensed since March, so I may not be correct in my assumption. But when you listen to it, a lot of people talk about how the industry used to be. It seems like deals used to just fall in your lap. You may have got a lot of calls during floor duty, or people used to flock to you to just help them buy houses or sell homes. And unfortunately, that's just not the way the industry is right now. You're having to hustle. You're having to do those open houses. You're having to find ways to generate leads. If you're a new agent like me who doesn't have the financial ability to buy the leads, then you're having to find ways to generate leads organically. And so that does make it tougher, but that does not mean that this is not the industry for you. Again, that just means that you have to hustle harder. You have to try harder. You have to put in the work. It doesn't mean that you give up. And I, again, don't want new agents to give up. It really takes a deep dive into looking at your real why. And I say your real why because a lot of times when you ask people why they decided to become a real estate agent, you get what I like to call a boilerplate answer or something that sounds really PR-y. So you'll get an answer that sounds something like, oh, I've always been interested in real estate, or I always have been wanting to help people buy homes. And that's great. And that may actually be an answer. To me, that's just not a deep answer. And so when the market is hard like it is now, or you don't have the support system that you thought you were going to have, that tends to choke those answers. And it takes the life out of those answers, and it leads to negativity and doubt and fear, and to a lot of people leaving the industry. So what you have to do is look into yourself a lot deeper to figure out your real why. Why are you really doing this? Why is it really worth it? And I've had to do the same thing. I've had to ask myself, Christina, why did you become a realtor, really? And my real answer is a couple of things. I recall a situation that did not directly affect me, but I was involved with a person who purchased a home. And it was back during that time when people were purchasing homes or were being allowed to purchase homes who really probably shouldn't have been. They were getting into homes that they really couldn't afford, and then they were being foreclosed. And while the banks and the real estate agents that were involved in those transactions were off living their lives and spending their commission checks, these people were dealing with bad credit and not knowing where their lives were going to go. And so I never wanted another person that I loved or cared about to have to go through that type of situation. So if I could be a real estate agent and make sure that my family and my friends never had to deal with a situation like that, that they were always dealing with someone they could trust who was going to take care of them, then that was my why. And not that I don't want to take care of strangers that I don't know, but I definitely was more concerned about my family and my friends having somebody they could trust. So that was the first part of my why. Um, the second part of my why had a lot more to do with me. Um, I never knew when I first started this that I even wanted my own business. And then when I realized that I had my own business, I was like, wait a minute. I own my own business. I control my own destiny. I'm no longer, at least with this particular career, at the whim of someone else making decisions that determine what happens to me. I'm my own boss. I determine what happens to me. And I get that people will say, well, to some extent, doesn't the market determine what happens to you as a realtor? And I get that. But my answer to that would be, well, no, not really, because if you ask any real seasoned agent who was there when the times were super easy, are they really just going to give up now? They're probably going to say no. They will tell you that they've had to reassess, that they've probably had to go back to basics, that they've had to go back to doing things that they probably stopped doing. But that doesn't mean that they're giving up. They're just having to hustle again. They're probably having to go back to door knocking or to focusing on lead generation or just doing things that they allowed to lax because things were easy. And so what that tells me, in my opinion, and again, I've only been licensed since March. I've already said it's been 8 months and I haven't had a deal. So I could be wrong. But what that tells me is that if you learn how to hustle now when times are hard, when times are easy, you just don't take your foot off the pedal. You still keep hustling. You still keep doing the same things that you're having to learn to do now, because real estate, like any sales business, has ebbs and flows. And you don't want to be caught off guard just because you took your foot off the gas. Because you thought, hey, things are coming in easy now, I can take my foot off the pedal. Apparently not. So that still doesn't mean that you give up. It just means that they're having to reassess, go back to basics, go back to doing some things they probably really don't want to do, but it's their business. And the way that I feel about something that I never even knew that I wanted until I actually got it, I don't want to let it go. And so if that means that I have to team up with other like-minded people who are driven to succeed, just like I am becoming driven to succeed, that's what I'm going to do. That means I have to pour blood, sweat, and tears into making this successful business that is mine successful, then that's what I'm going to do. If that means I have to find a way to block out the fact that the market is hard, to block out the fact that I don't have the support system that I thought I was going to have, to block out the haters and the doubters, that's what I'm going to have to learn to do. But what I refuse to do is give up. So, no, I don't like that it's not just being thrown at me. But maybe I don't want that though. Because the fact that it's not being handed to me, the fact that it's taking grit and grind and work and sweat, means the reward that I get in the end is going to be that much greater. The fact that it wasn't handed to me is going to make me that much more confident in what I have accomplished. So, I mean, in the end, you win because you learned how to do it the right way. And I'm not saying that people who got in the business when things were easy didn't learn how to do things correctly. I mean, they just happened to be lucky enough to get in the business at a time when, things were going super well. And now things are a little harder, and hopefully they did learn things the right way so that they're not lost and they don't know what to do. If they are in that situation, hopefully they have the tools and the support system necessary to learn what to do. But anybody like me who's come in this market, we have no choice but to learn how to deal with this market. We don't know what was going on back then. We weren't taught how to deal with that market. We're being taught how to deal with this market. And if we can deal with this, if we can become successful at this, man, sky's the limit. So we shouldn't get discouraged. And I know it's hard, easy to say, harder to do. But we have to find a way not to get discouraged, but to be encouraged by the fact that if we can do this, we can do anything. So on those days when, I'm thinking, gosh, this market is really hard and it's been 8 months and I haven't had a deal yet. Or, man, I thought when I got this license and I said, hey, I'm licensed, that person that was going to be my cheerleader, my champion, just turned into one of the biggest doubters. Or when you're hearing those voices that are telling you you're not going to sell a house, or you're not going to be able to do this, or this is not something you should have done, or you're wasting your time. When you're hearing all of that, you've got to just key into your faith. You've got to find a way to ignore all of that noise and remember your real why you got into this. Everybody who got licensed didn't get licensed. I mean, if you really, really thought about it, you didn't get licensed because you thought, oh, this is super easy. You didn't take the test. You didn't pay your dues. You didn't do all of that because you thought, oh, this is super easy. And if you did, you found out you were wrong. And hopefully you found another reason why. But I know I didn't get into this because I thought it was super easy. I didn't even get into this because I thought I wanted to own my own business. But once I realized that it is my own business, that although I hang my license with a brokerage, Christina is an LLC, sweetie. This is all you. That's so profound to me. That means more to me than I ever even thought, because I never even knew it was something that I wanted. So despite all the challenges, the roadblocks, the weapons that are formed against it, despite all of that, I'm trying to learn to key into faith. I'm trying to learn to have faith in myself when others don't. I'm trying to learn that, yes, it hurts when the person you thought would be your champion is your biggest doubter. But you just still got to have faith in yourself. You've got to keep your why in front of you. So whether you got to write it down on a sticky note and stick it on your refrigerator, whether you've got to make it the screensaver on your phone, whatever you have to do to keep that reason in front of you when everything in the world seems against you, please do it. Because I'm learning to do it. And it hurts that I have to. But it's just what you have to do. But don't give up. Don't become a statistic. Don't listen to, and I'm not trying to knock someone's content, because I wouldn't want someone knocking mine. And there's content almost every day about how many realtors are going to drop out of the industry. I know you see it on YouTube and Instagram and everywhere. And I'm not knocking someone's content, because maybe there is a need for that. You also see content about everybody posting their wins and how many sales they have, and that's great too. There's a need for that too. But there's also a need for someone who isn't just winning right now to just sit down and tell you, yeah, I'm not winning, but I'm still not going to give up. And you shouldn't either. And so someone who does not like to be in front of the camera has spoken in front of the camera a whole lot longer than she intended, just to encourage you, as I've been trying to do with all of my other posts, to not give up, to find someone who you can partner with, who will be encouraging as you are trying to encourage them, who is driven as you are trying to drive yourself, who knows that yes, it's not easy, but they still want to do it too, who will allow you to take some kind of motivation from their wins and not feel like, oh, she's just making it about herself. And I feel like I found a partner, thankfully, to allow me to do that. And that was luckily the person that I partnered with today to do the open houses. Rachel, she's phenomenal. She's got a listing. I'm so proud of her. She's a newer agent as well. She is rocking it. I decided to start teaming up with her to do open houses. We both are just really trying to stay focused on making it in this industry because this is something that we both want to do. It's not something that we both were expecting to be easy or handed to us or just this silver platter type thing. We know it's going to take work, and she's out there doing the work. I am taking motivation from the fact that she's got a listing. I want to support her in any way that I can. I'm glad we're teaming up for open houses. By the way, we do have another open house tomorrow. It is in Mary Esther. I hope people will come out. I want to get some people out to view this home so the seller who is motivated to sell can, pass this beautiful home on to someone that can make some cherishing moments in this beautiful place. So come out tomorrow. I have posts on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor. I also think I did post on TikTok as well about the open house. So I look forward to seeing people tomorrow there. I'm just, again, wanting to end this saying stay encouraged. Um, if you don't already, start journaling, write your feelings down, get it out. If you don't already, if you're spiritual, just start reading the Bible in the morning to start your day off right, to set the tone. If you don't already, pray, because it takes a lot of prayer as a realtor anyway, whether you're doing good or bad. So just pray. But stay focused on your real why. I am doing it. I hope you do the same. I hope you guys have a good evening.